Welcome to the MLM Success Coaches Expert Interview Series, your ultimate resource for network marketing, blogging, and social media tips. If you have a question, we got an answer. And now, your host, Ian Beatty.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the MLM Success Coaches Show. I'm your host, Ian Beatty, and today I have joining me Mr. Ben Fitz. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Welcome to the show. Now, Ben is an experienced network marketer. He's been doing this for years. He's the author of a couple different ebooks. One of them is the Niche Work Marketing ebook, and the other one is the 5 Lies that the experts are not telling you about how to build an online business. He occasionally writes for the Network Marketing magazine, and you can find Ben over at his blog at benjaminfitz.com and at his YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/benfitz. Also at thehomebusinessblog.com. All right, so tell us a little bit more about yourself, Ben, and how you got involved in network marketing.
Well, basically, I got exposed to network marketing as a kid. My dad had tried some opportunities, so I knew it was kind of okay. And then in college, a buddy of mine, had us over for dinner, had a couple of us over for dinner, and, put in a videotape. This was back in the day, and we watched the video, and it made sense to me. The idea that you were getting paid instead of them buying television advertising or radio advertising or hiring a spokesperson. They were paying distributors like you and me. That made sense. So I was like, I'm in. And I tried network marketing in college, and I say I tried because I didn't really have a mentor or anything like that. My buddy knew nothing about network marketing either. About the only thing he knew was to go to a meeting. And we went to a couple of meetings, and I basically found out that my buddy and my upline didn't know anything, and they weren't very helpful. But I still was able to go out and get some customers, make some checks. A year comes by. I'm supposed to pay a renewal fee. I don't want to renew because I never sponsored anybody, And I went off like a lot of people. You get out of college, you go get a job. I did the whole job thing. I was a model employee. I'm a geek. I'm a tech guy, and I worked in .com environments. And I thought, we'd be the next Netscape, Yahoo, something like that. I had stock options. I worked my butt off. I slept at the office working so much. And then it all went out from under me. The .com bubble burst. They wanted to close our office. They wanted to move us and relocate us to another office in another part of the country. And I thought, hey, I could just maybe, back in the .com days, I'd have like one phone call on this one and one phone call on this hand. I had job offers just coming out of both ears. You know what I mean? And now suddenly they dried up, and I'm taking like a pay cut of $20,000 to get a job again. And my wife took a pay cut, and we moved, and it was just stressing me out so much, and I'd put all this effort into it. So I said, there's got to be a better solution. There's got to be a better solution where I'm not dependent on someone else to pay me. And having been, business-minded before, I went back looking at network marketing because I remembered those checks I got. And those checks were really small because they were just customer checks. But I remembered them, and I remembered that it could work. So I said maybe if I went and got a real mentor, if I went and found someone who was in the local area doing meetings that I could plug into, then maybe I could make a run at it and make it more successful. So that's kind of why I got started with it. And at first, that first year I wasn't very good, but that second year I decided, after a few years off, I said I'm going to make this work.
Right. Yeah, those little checks are important. I remember when I first got involved in network marketing, it was just really to supplement my income. Had a new baby on the way, and so I just wanted those little extra $100, $200 checks every once in a while just to help out with things. So how did you go from being a techie to pretty much being an author and writing ebooks and writing for the Network Marketing magazine and being online?
Well, what I started doing was I started doing traditional networking, okay? So first and foremost, the first several people I sponsored were traditional networking online. I mean, not online, excuse me, offline. I was doing flyers, I was doing classified ads, I was trying drop cards, you know, whatever I could do to get people to come to a local opportunity meeting,
right,
and find out more about my business. So I sponsored the first few distributors doing that. Meanwhile, I started trying to apply some of my internet skills to doing websites and things. And one of the things I discovered was I discovered some communities and started building relationships with people, just kind of like social networking, but it was before Facebook. It was like, you know, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Forum. Robert Kiyosaki talks about network marketing. I figure, hey, that's a good place to find people that might be interested in joining a business. So that's how I started sponsoring people, and I basically helped supplement my income while I developed some internet skills and applied them into my business. I supplemented that by doing offline marketing with flyers and things like that. Matter of fact, one of my ebooks I wrote was about how I do flyers differently than the way a lot of other people do flyers.
Right. So coming from doing the offline marketing to online marketing, what have you found to be, you know, a better avenue for you?
A better avenue online?
As far as a marketing channel.
Well, I do an awful lot with Google. I do an awful lot of search engine marketing. I even will pay for search engine marketing, and I'll even do pay-per-click at certain times of the year when my business is really going well, and when I'm expecting a lot of interest in my product. So I get a lot of traffic from that, and I love it because it's kind of one of those things where once you get positioned well in Google, you're almost guaranteed traffic. You know, unless Google does a big update and you lose your rankings, you're pretty much guaranteed traffic consistently. So I started doing that. As you know, I've recently started doing YouTube and some other things like that to get my word out there. I sent some guys on my team some information about press releases, online press releases. Even if you don't get picked up in a newspaper or magazine or radio, press release could be a good way to get links to your website and get your name out there. So I do a lot of that stuff, but I also want to point out, you know, I had to learn some of that offline skill too, because I didn't know that because I was a geek.
Right.
I didn't know how to do sales or any of that stuff.
Right. I think it's interesting how you say that you have to learn a few of those offline skills as well, because, you know, in network marketing, it is a new business venture for a lot of people, and there is a lot of new skill sets that you have to learn to be able to be competitive within this marketplace, and to really try to unlearn some of the things that you were taught in other marketplaces, because it just doesn't apply into this business. So you were speaking about YouTube, and on your YouTube channel you have about 34 videos, but you have 21,683 video views. How did you achieve that?
Good question. Well, mainly what I just try and do is I try to get my videos out there in such a way that people, you know, I'll post my videos to my blog. I try to use the keywords and things like that when I submit videos so that I'll get random searches from people. Some of the videos I put together that you might not even see are private videos, which are training videos for my team. There's certain things that I can't say in a public video that I can say in a private video. My company has policies against that. So I send that out, but I send that out to every new distributor. You know, I make sure that they're aware of these videos because I find that some people learn visually. So a video where I talk about how to follow up with the prospect, I talk about the wrong thing you can say to a prospect, or I talk about how to overcome objections. I might record a video, and in the video I'll use I'll have like a little sign which will say, you know, what I'm actually verbally saying to them, and that way they're getting it reinforced a couple different ways, visually and verbally, because people learn differently. So I'm just trying to accommodate my team better by providing those videos. And the funny thing is, people are finding those now, and they're finding me through YouTube too, which is kind of cool.
Right. That's interesting. So you're pretty much using all the new tools and new media for educational purposes. That's cool. So from all your online strategies, would you say video is your number one strategy, or what would it be? Article marketing, blogging? What is your number one strategy for driving leads to your business opportunity?
I'm gonna say article marketing, but that applies to like blogging and everything because I believe in repurposing the content. So I'll write an article that I'll submit to the article directories, and that article will also become blog posts. That article will also become emails that go in an email autoresponder, maybe to my either existing customers or prospective prospects for my business. You know, I'll use that content many different ways. The other thing I do typically is I'll rewrite the article for my personal website. So it'll be slightly different than what goes on the article website, so that way I don't get a duplicate content penalty.
Okay.
So, like, for example, I'm in the greeting card business. So during the holidays, I put up holiday tips for business owners to get more referrals from their holiday cards. So the article I submitted on the article directories had 6 tips in it. The article I put on my personal website had 8. So it actually had more content, and I rewrote some of the content so that way Google would see it as unique content. I'm trying to avoid that duplicate content penalty. But, yeah, because, you know, if you can author stuff, and even now on some of my websites, trying to leverage my time, I'll take articles from an article directory, or I'll hire out articles very affordably. I found a good source to do that. And I'll use those articles. I find that owning your own content is really king in terms of Google.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting because all my interviews, I'm hoping my viewers are starting to see a familiarity with everybody that we're interviewing. Really, article marketing and blogging is at the key behind a lot of their businesses. Now, you were speaking about your blog, and I had a few questions about your blog because you had a few interesting posts on there. So one of them that I wanted to talk about first was you had a post on there from Big Al. Now, Big Al is a network marketing trainer who's been around for a long time. He's owned different network marketing businesses, and he was speaking about prospecting to your cold market. And what he was talking about was to have a set of answers for different questions that you receive, and to have a sub-answer for this and a sub-answer for that, reply for this. And it sounded really salesy to me. Now, in network marketing, we try to be duplicatable, so it didn't really sound like something that the average Joe off the street could come and do. So what is your thoughts behind that?
Well, I'll say, first of all, you know, my blog appeals to all different kinds of people, whether or not they're sometimes experienced posts, you know, and sometimes it's for people that aren't very experienced. So I have to put up different kind of content. But Big Al, I don't know if you know Big Al real well, but he's a very analytical guy. He used to be an engineer. So he really likes to break things down like that, of like specific things to say. And I will say that if you haven't been to a Big Al seminar, you should definitely go to them. They have them all over the world, really, and usually they cost about $10 to go to one of Big Al's seminars. And at a seminar, he'll really give you specific things you can say. Like, I went to one seminar where he told us how to create headlines for classified ads. You know, another seminar, he talks about how to give a 2-minute presentation to somebody that explains what network marketing is. And he really breaks it down into chunks so that, you know, you've got a 2-minute network marketing presentation when you leave that's geared towards your business. Now, if you subscribe to Big Al's newsletter and stuff, he's got all that information in there. And like you said, that particular post was probably more for someone who was more experienced. I will say that generally speaking, I try to give people some ideas of how to overcome an objection or how to answer some of the questions. But at the same time, it's really important to just get out there and start doing it and learning by doing. You can learn as much by talking to people and the questions that they ask you than you can by, you know, reading articles all day or watching YouTube videos or whatever. You can learn as much by doing.
Right, that's true. You know, when I first got started, I used to do all kind of different things to prospect. I I used to walk around the Walmart parking lot trying to look for people who were sharp, because that's what one of the things they always tell you: look for the sharp guy.
Guy at Walmart.
Yeah, sharp guy at Walmart.
Guy Neiman Marcus or something.
That's like an oxymoron, huh?
You're not from Mississippi where I am. I mean,
Riverside, California, baby. Hey, so you were telling me that a lot of times we were speaking before we interviewed, and you said that a lot of times that even if you botched the prospect up and just did it horribly, that the prospect still got involved. So what would be like your number one prospecting tip if it was a new person getting started and they just happened to stumble across this video? And what would be your number one tip for that person?
Well, the number one tip comes down to making it look easy to the prospect. It's not about what we can do. It's about what the prospect feels they can do. So if we're too good with our presentation, we may intimidate the prospect because they might feel like they have to duplicate what we do. So like in my company, we used to have to give all of our presentations ourselves. We didn't have a lot of tools to do it. And as we developed the tools, we found that we were having a lot more success because we were able to just use a tool. You're able to send someone to a website to watch a video or play a DVD or something like that. So in a business presentation, now instead of me doing it, even though it might look kind of cheesy, I'll play a DVD. If I'm doing like an in-person meeting, I'll even play a DVD instead of giving the presentation because I don't want to intimidate people and make them feel like they have to learn a lot. And the easier you can make it, the more likely they'll be to do it. And along those lines, using the tools. The less you say, the more you make. So using the tools, it all has to do with that, making it look easy. And sometimes the worst thing you can do is be really great at selling or giving your presentation.
Right. Hey, you know what? That brings up an interesting question about using tools. I had a previous interview with Tracy Walker, and she talked to me about how she teaches her team to lead with the product. And now in the network marketing industry, there's been a debate going back and forth for years. Do you lead with the opportunity or do you lead with the product? What is your views on that?
That's a really good question. One of the things I do find is you tend to attract people who are, if you're leading with the product, you tend to attract a lot of customers. If you lead with the opportunity, you tend to attract business builders. I will say that I'm more towards the product side of things because my company has a unique product. You're not going to find other MLM companies selling my product. And not to bag on health and nutrition, but you may have a unique health product, but it may be hard to convey that to the consumer. The consumer might not understand why your vitamin or your nutritional or your juice is better than the one that they can get at the store. So it's kind of harder in some businesses to lead with the product. In my business, it's easier to lead with the product. And there's companies like Prepaid Legal or whatever out there too that they have sort of a unique product. And there's thousands of opportunities, and so that's one of the things that can make our businesses more unique is our product. I'm trying to switch more from leading with the product to leading more with the opportunity because I find myself, I'm really great at gathering customers, but I want to be better at gathering team builders and people that want to go fast and build a huge organization. So I'm making a conscious effort to focus more on the opportunity myself. Right.
So I guess it depends on what your focus is, because that's kind of what the same thing she said too. I guess it depends on what you want your organization to look like and what your focus on your business is. So that brings me to another question that I got from your website, and it was speaking about how to analyze an MLM company, an MLM product, and an MLM comp plan. So my question would be, how does a person analyze something like that before they get involved? Because it would seem like if a person got involved with it and then analyzed it and realized that it was not the right company or product for them to represent, it seemed like it would be too late. So what would you suggest a person do before they get started?
All right, I've got a few different answers for you on this one. This is a tough one. Okay. First of all, let me say, I've been with my company for 7.5 years. So, it would be a good idea to analyze the company before I spent 7.5 years on it, right? So like even if I was in it for a year or two, but I'm looking long term, I'm looking at being in this company 10, 15, 20 years from now. So being able to analyze it before you get too deep and before you get too big of a group might be a good thing. But I wrote that really in terms of also to help people. So to help you, Ian, as you're going and you're building an MLM organization, you could explain to people why, your company is a great company to be a part of. You could be able to explain some of the benefits of your comp plan or some of the benefits of your product, what makes your product better. Especially if you're in some of the businesses where there's a lot of competition, someone might have been to another opportunity meeting, you know what I mean? Or maybe they have a brother that does, a different health company than you do. And you can explain maybe what makes your company a little better or what makes your team better. Maybe the training your team provides is better. And you'll come in, the more you do network marketing, you'll come up on people that are like interviewing several different companies. They might be interviewing several different leaders within your company trying to find the right one to join. And those people are probably a little bit more analytical. So if you have some of that information, you can answer their questions and hopefully they'll want to join you. And I do recommend that book, Network Marketing for Dummies. I mean, it's a dummies book, but it does give you an overview of different comp plans, what some of the benefits are of different comp plans and things like that.
Right.
It's Network Marketing for Dummies. And, if someone is brand new, it can just give them an idea of some things to look out for.
Right. I think that's a good suggestion as well. Studying your marketplace is the best that you could do to really represent yourself as a professional and know the industry that you're dealing with. That brings me to another question. You got the book, the ebook called Niche Work Marketing. It's basically about carving out a niche for yourself within your network marketing industry. So with dealing with online and internet network marketing, we're talking about dealing with attraction marketing, but you even talk about breaking it down even further and getting yourself into a micro niche. How do you suggest the person go about figuring out what niche is the right niche for them to get into?
I'm glad to have that. I made a mistake when I got started of trying to, home business blogs, my blog. I had intended to try to position myself as an expert, and I didn't realize, just how difficult that was going to be. I'm dealing with people that have 30 years of experience in the industry. They have experience creating their own MLM companies. They have experience making 7 figures a month, and here I am trying to position myself as an expert. So it was kind of tough, and if I had to do it over, I would pick more of a niche. And so how can you find your own niche? Well, finding a niche, you can look at a few different things. You can look at something that you have experience with already. You can look at something that you think is a hot topic, whether or not it's popular or whether or not it's controversial. You could pick something that you want to know more about, or you could even kind of look at your own organization and things like that and try and pick up something from your group. Some similarities to kind of focus on. So what do I mean? Let me give you some examples. Something that you have experience with might be like your job. What's your job? If you're a stay-at-home mom and you homeschool your kids, then something that's geared towards other homeschool moms, you'd have a lot of expertise in that. You'd find a lot of people that share a lot of similarities with you. A lot of them are probably looking for something they can do part-time to make extra money. It would be kind of a natural fit.
Right. If
you're an older guy and, you're coming up on retirement age, I don't suggest starting a site for 20-somethings, because that's not going to be a good But at the same time, if you're an older guy and you're in your early 60s and you're looking at retirement, starting a website geared towards retirement and, do you have enough money for your retirement and, Medicare, Medicaid, I mean, my father and my uncle and stuff are at that age, and we were having a conversation the other day about, how to set it up so that your insurance is fully covered when part of it's covered by Medicaid and part of it's covered by your spouse. I mean, there's all this stuff, and I don't know any of that stuff, but people that are that age, they would be interested in knowing that. and that'd be a way to meet other people. So that's something that you have experience in, or if you're a teacher or a cop or whatever it is, you could focus on that and find other people with similar backgrounds. Maybe it's your hobby. Maybe your hobby is martial arts, I used to be a soccer player, and I'd love nothing more than to go tour all the great soccer stadiums in Europe. Well, like that could be something that you talk about, and how your income is allowing you from your job to be able to go on these trips, and then you post photos and things of the trips, and naturally you attract a lot of people that are interested in those kinds of things. You go to the World Cup, you blog about it, and I mean, so that's kind of how you can go that way. The other way to do it is to focus more on things that you might not know that much about, but you might want to learn more about. Maybe you want to learn more about it because it's a passion of yours. Maybe you want to learn more about it just because you think it's a hot topic. And one of the examples I use in my book is autism. There's a belief out there now that you can actually help treat autism through diet, or nutrition or things like that, and it can help alleviate some of the symptoms of autism. So it's kind of a hot topic, and if you're in health and nutrition, it might be the kind of thing, if you have an autistic child, you might want to learn more about anyway, to learn more about how to help your child, but also, because it's kind of a hot topic, you might be able to get some traction from Google and, kind of develop kind of a following around that. So then finally, looking at the people, if you've built an organization, you can look at your customers, you can look at your downline team, you can look at people like my team. My product in particular seems to attract a lot of ministers. Right. So like looking at that, I can say, okay, well maybe people that are involved in church, people that are involved in charity, people that are involved in fundraising, maybe that's a niche for me to focus on because my product seems to attract those kinds of people anyway. Right. And I know another lady whose product attracts a lot of nurses. And then I mean, you can build a whole thing around that. You can target pay-per-click advertising around that. You can target your advertising in a magazine that caters to that niche. So you can really, build a whole... You can make $1 million targeting a niche much easier than you can make $1 million trying to be a generalist.
Right. I think I was going to ask you about your number one secret tip, but I think that was it. I think my viewers are going to definitely benefit from that. So let's say that you're targeting a micro niche. You see an open avenue, but you don't know anything about it. How would you go about creating content for something like that?
Well, first of all, I usually use a blog for the basic platform just because you don't need a lot of skills and you can set up free blogs and, it's very easy to update a blog and also Google loves blogs. So I would set up a blog and then, you can start by just simply going and finding links, finding content on article directories and things like that. There's lots of content. People like me will create content and submit it to an article directory because we're hoping you post it. And we're hoping it contains our bio box, which has a couple of links to us. But here's the thing. Even if you're just posting links to other people's content or you're aggregating someone's content, you're still associated now with that content. It's like you, Ian, with the show where you're interviewing network marketing experts. You're going to be positioned, people are going to begin to associate you as a network marketing expert because of all the people that you've interviewed. And you're actually going to develop some friendships and relationships with some of these people as well that I'm sure is going to help you with your business too. Right. And so when you are focused on a niche like that and you start to put all this content together, you can just simply say, this is why I think this is a really good site on autism, or this is my favorite website for, learning about whatever topic you're interested in. That begins to set you up as an authority on that topic. And, if you've read one book on the topic and they've read none, you're more of an authority than they are. If you've sponsored one person in network marketing and they've sponsored none, you're more of an expert than they are in network marketing.
Yeah, I think that's a great, excellent point. The internet is full of information, and it's not full of people to curate the best information. So if you are looking to set up a micro niche and it's an area that you really don't know anything about, you definitely can find the people out there that know everything about it and start curating their content. And like Ben said, you'll start to be associated with those experts because you're going to be the expert curator of that content. So, Ben, I want to appreciate you, I want to thank you for your time and appreciate you coming on the show. I think you brought my viewers some great information today, and I wish all the success to you in your future business ventures, okay?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed being here, and I hope that maybe I can develop some relationships with some of your fans as well.
All right. Hey, you have a good day, okay, Ben?
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the MLM Success Coaches Show, where our motto is nobody wants a boss, everybody wants a coach. Until next time, have a great day.